Welcome to the newest episode of Falling Upwards, which we are tentatively semi-titling today Falling Squidwards. You'll understand why. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. It's back to school. We're going to dig into it with, as always, because she's always here. She's always here. The wonderful Miss Maddie Armstrong. How you doing, Mad?
Hello. My tentacles are so strong. Yeah, that's it.
That's cool. How is everybody else's tentacles doing? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in messages.
Are they rubbery?
Yeah.
Are they tender?
I think.
Are they extra slippery today? Getting a bit gross. Have you ever eaten octopus?
I have.
Aimée.
I have. Is this a little mad news segue?
No, this is just like a little conversation about tentacles.
Tentacles. I have eaten octopus. Have you?
Yeah, in Jamaica, it tasted like chicken. The texture freaked me out a bit.
Wait, have you ever had takoyaki, the octopus balls?
No.
For anybody that has been listening regularly, you'll know that we are trying to expand Maddie's palate. This is another thing that we've got to make sure that you try, takoyaki.
I feel like that would be throwing me in at the deep end.
I don't know. You're always more resilient than I think you give yourself credit for, you know?
Oh, that's very nice.
And with that in mind, let's make it all about Maddie with Mad News. What have you got today?
Okay. Aimée, I don't know if I can't remember if I told you, because I was thinking about because I recently went to Lollapalooza in Berlin, and Louis and Niall from One Direction were there.
Yes.
One Direction visited my school a few years ago.
I think you did mention this, and it blew my mind.
Listen, I'm not lying. Yeah, they visited our school for this. It was basically for this girl that won this award, who was a massive fan, and yeah, it's mad. Also, Sarah McKellen visited at some point, but I feel like people will be less excited about that.
No, so Ian McKellen's a legend.
There's literally a video on YouTube. I'm gonna send it to you, actually.
He's an absolute legend. I don't think anybody would be disappointed about that.
I mean, but One Direction is kind of a bit more wow, you know?
I don't know. I feel like it depends who you're talking to, though.
Depends who you are, yeah. I mean, I was never like a massive fan. I was more of the Wanted girl, you know? I was more into the Wanted.
Right, yeah. We have talked about our mutual appreciation for the Wanted.
Yeah. They had some beef on Twitter sometimes, didn't they?
Did they?
Wasn't it?
See, I never kept up with this stuff very well.
Hang on. I want to find these tweets. Yeah, I think it was Max. Hang on, there's tweets. Oh my word. Yeah, there's tweets of Zayn from 1D and Max from The Wanted totally beefing. And Zayn calls Max Chlamydia Boy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, a relic of the internet. When we were at Lolla, right? Occasionally, Louis or Niall, because they were on different days, would perform an actual 1D song, and it brought me back. Like, while we were waiting for 17 to come on the South stage, Niall on the North stage performed, I think he did Night Changes.
Wow. Oh, that's such a peak One Direction song.
And it was like, whoa. We were like just sort of switching between the two, you know, waiting on that stage and then looking over at this, you know, it was really cool. That was a cool festival.
I feel like that's perfect for back to school because the theme that we wanted to vaguely wander around in the episode today, which I thought it's very apt considering that we do talk about failure and the struggles with work and failure and self-worth and all of that, is back to school. Because I think in some ways back to school affects everybody, whether that is literally just a memory for you, or whether you're a mum that has to deal with back to school with your kids, or whether you are literally in the thick of it, going back to school or back to uni or wherever.
Yeah, I was thinking our listeners probably, if I would guess our demographic, they're probably out of school. But it's nice to look back. Or if you are in school, hope you swimming, just keep swimming, mate. Hope you're surviving. None of what the idiots around you say is true. Don't develop these insecurities. They're all knobs.
So you say that, but I didn't predict us getting a listener from Uganda.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of going for...
We could have senior listeners.
We absolutely could. When I say back to school, what does that mean to you, Mads?
it just reminds me of stationery shopping and uniform shopping and WH Smith,
Wow.
which was kind of
Happy memories or meh memories?
well, the thing is, I was pretty quiet in school, so I was never that excited to go back, but at the same time I was. Like it's weird because the like the new pencil sharpeners you're buying and like all the pencil cases with the flowers on them, I would just sort of
Mm.
stare at them happily in class. Be like, yeah, I'm prepared. I've got that back to school drip. Well,
Yeah.
the drip wasn't a term back then. But like there was kind of a buzz, even if I didn't even like the snails around me. It was still kind of exciting. It's weird. It's like a conflicting feeling. That's why I took a pause there, because it's like
Right.
I wasn't looking forward to it, but I also was.
You also were.
Yeah.
When I was pondering this earlier, I was like, the great things about back to school are, I can imagine for parents, it's knowing that they don't have to kind of watch their kids or find things for their kids to do every single day. I'm not saying parents don't love their kids, but as a non-parent, I've seen a lot of dramas about being parents, that once the summer holidays hit, all the parents are like, oh my gosh, I've got to find daycare, I've got to find stuff for them to do. So that's like a good thing. And then for when you as a young person is going back to school, I would get excited for the same things, like buying new stationery, seeing friends again. That was always fun, you know? Like, I'm
Yeah.
seeing friends again every day.
Maddie didn't mention
That's
that
cool.
in her.
And you know, like the excitement of, did your school have planners?
Yes.
Like, would you get a new planner every year? That was always one of the best bits, right? I'd get so excited.
Fresh paint for all the comments I would receive, all these sanctions. I'm joking. I never got that many.
Can we talk about planners?
We can totally.
For you, what makes a great planner?
Like the contents of it, or the way you fill it.
It's your party. Take it wherever you want to.
And a school planner, or like just a general planner.
Since we're talking back to school, a school planner.
I've never really owned a planner otherwise. I liked all the like hundreds of nonsense pages that no one ever looked at, because I would look at them, like the maps and just random sciencey things. I don't know, I can't even remember, but it would have so much information that we never were told to look at. There was no expectancy. Some of those pages were never touched, and they're all in different colors, which is really pretty. I feel like ours were quite well designed. I did like them. I sort of like the uselessness.
We had like spiral bound
Yes.
planners.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
With like the plastic covers?
Yeah, that was ours. Maybe we had similar ones.
Was it like a week across 2 pages every time?
Did we have the same? Were they made by the same people and then they just put the school's logo on it?
Maybe. I'm sure lots of schools did that. No? They must have done,
I
right?
think
I'm sure lots of schools did that.
Did your planners have like water droplets on? Like water ripples?
We had different designs every
Was it blue?
year. Yes, it was always blue coloured though.
Yeah, ours was the same water ripples.
Were you one for loads and loads of stickers? How did you customise your planner?
I don't think we were allowed them, you know.
No, are you being serious?
Like even doodling. Listen, our school was as strict as public schools get.
No, so you couldn't customise anything?
We got told off for doodling in our planners. I think we got comments for that. Comments were like the lowest form of sanction. If you got 4 or 5 of them in a week, you'd get detention.
This is so sad though. That's part of the joy of it.
If you got one comment, was it in the entire week or for the day? I can't remember. You'd have your lunch pass that allowed you to leave the school grounds at lunchtime taken off you for the week.
I'm very saddened by this.
So even me, that like in school at least, I was, you know, quite reserved, and like I was the student that the teachers liked because I just got on with things and, you know, did what they said. And I never made any attempt to misbehave. Even I had an isolation once, which was a whole day in isolation, you know, in a separate little building. Because of the school it was, the punishment was way overkill for that.
Right.
Like after school detention at most.
Yeah.
Oh my word. I once got an after school detention.
Yeah.
But I was in year 11. I was under a lot of stress.
Right.
And this one teacher, my drama teacher, he was like sort of pestering me in the lunch queue right before a chemistry exam, an actual chemistry exam, not a mock one, an actual one. And I was trying to order like a cheese and tomato panini, and I was at the till and I was talking to the dinner
Yeah.
lady, and he was next to me and was like, Maddie, Maddie, Maddie. And I was like, leave me alone. I got an after school detention for that.
Your school is scary.
Because apparently I hurt his feelings. Yeah.
Your school was very
But at least
scary.
One Direction went there. Maybe that's why.
What do you think constitutes like a successful back to school? Like, what's a good first day of school day? Because I can imagine for a parent, it's just my kid's got the right uniform. They've all got in the car. You know, if I've got multiples, they've all got. If I've got many children, they've all got in the car at the right time. We've got to school at the right time. There are no complaints. They've got everything they need. I can go to work. It's smooth. From as a student, what do you think constitutes good back to school? Like first day, first week back to school.
Yours was from the parent point of view, but from a student point of view,
I was trying to like add other perspectives.
yeah, May's not a parent, just
No,
so everyone knows.
I'm not a parent. No.
Just order, because the students have no idea what's going on.
Right.
So if the teachers don't know what's going on, it's going to be absolute chaos. They need to actually get themselves together. They need to say, you need to go there to that class. Here's your planner.
Right.
Here's your timetable. This is how you read it. This is how you understand it. Make buddies with this person.
Right.
Like it's just, and you also I think you actually need to do things during the day.
Mm.
There are some days where they don't need to exist, either have like an hour or two just extra day to just be like, come in, get your stuff, get out, or actually do something in the first day, because that was always a bit rubbish. Also, how'd you say it? PHSCE, is that the right order?
Yes,
PHSCE days
PSHE, yeah.
was so useless. What the heck did we even do during those?
So for our listeners that aren't from the UK, PSHE is this weird nebulous thing that I think all UK students have to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's meant to, I think it's something like, oh my goodness, it's like it's like health, social, PSHE, personal, social, and it's just health, economic, education. It's like, it's meant to be like life skills. Do you know what I mean? Like life skills.
It's just a load of videos about don't do drugs, that sort of stuff.
So wait, I've just looked it up. Yeah, so it's meant to be like personal, social, health, and economic education. I will say, I don't think they taught much. I don't know how it was at your school, Maddie. I don't think much financial skills were taught.
No.
And as an adult, or vaguely trying to be an adult right now, I would have appreciated, it's little things, isn't it?
Everyone,
just like when you go out, when you go out into uni, or if you're doing an apprenticeship, or even if you're doing neither of those things, like, what things can you do to look after yourself? I think that would have been quite cool. We didn't really get that. Did you get that?
No, everyone always talks about how school doesn't teach you how to do taxes, and I think the conversation is tied out a bit, but it's also true, man.
I think so.
They never taught us that stuff.
Yeah.
They never taught me how to open a bank account.
No, it's true though. It's a thing though, because it's like, I think there is the idea that when you're learning this stuff, it comes from your, like, whatever parental figure you have in your life will teach you that thing. But we both know
there's so many households where that won't happen.
Exactly. Like, you can't bank on a kid having the parental figure that will teach them that certain thing, or not teach them that thing. Or what if that person's parental figure actually they themselves have no knowledge, or if they have views about some of those things that are archaic. Like, if that kid is the first kid to go to university, they're not going to be able to advise on, say, what university loans to do, or how to deal with living in halls and stuff like that. If they've never had an apprenticeship, they can't advise people on that.
Yeah.
They're going to miss that.
That's why uni students, that's why all they eat is takeout, because they don't know how to cook.
My halls were right above a Sainsbury's, and
oh, how convenient.
it was like, Well, see, this is so what happened because of that was that people would start to, it's like 30 seconds to just run down to Sainsbury's and pick up whatever you needed. So people would start to like come down in their dressing gowns and their slippers into the Sainsbury's, to the point where Sainsbury's actually contacted my uni is one of those that has like multiple colleges in it, and they contacted, I think it was someone within the college, Sainsbury's contacted them to say, can you please tell your students that they cannot come down to Sainsbury's in dressing gowns?
That's so funny. Why can't they? Of course they can.
But the thing is, it's like,
Be comfy.
like why?
That's so funny.
Did they think that? Because like I would see at like maybe 8 a.m., 9 a.m., you have people coming in during like the work rush, they're picking up like their lunch for the day, whatever. But I'm very sure they're so busy that they're not bothered about the student next to them in dressing gowns and slippers also buying their like Kellogg's Crunchy Nut. I don't think people, maybe they had complaints, I don't know, but I don't think these work people were that concerned. Like they had work to do.
Sometimes the only reason you're leaving the house is to pop down to the shop, and it's kind of annoying to have to dress up just to go out for 10 minutes. So I love the convenience of that. Slippers.
Yeah. We're not saying like go down in a bikini, but it's like it's just a dressing gown and slippers.
No, go down in a bikini if you want to. Wear your dressing gown. Wear no shoes or socks. Who cares? It's not illegal.
This is Maddie's new vision for the world.
It's a beautiful world.
If you want to do it.
I feel like we should all just care less about things.
But I do very much remember at some point, like during that first term, I think two of the lads on my floor just popping down like with absolute bed's heads in dressing gowns and slippers, like semi bleary eyed, just being like, oh my gosh, I just need to buy whatever.
I respect it.
And just like trundling along to like the self checkout and be like, yeah, okay, fine, it's okay, bye now.
Let the kids wear the dressing gowns to Sainsbury's, man. They've got so many other things to worry about than dressing up in business casual, buy a ready meal and some squash. Like, leave them alone.
If you were the headmistress of a school, what would you set during back to school to make it a fun experience? Or would you not want it to be a fun experience? Would you want it to be like, no, they need to learn the letter of the law quickly? What program would you put in place? What's Maddie's dream program?
I mean, I know it's not back to school, but my first thought was non-uniform, like as a whole thing.
Not gonna lie, I wasn't a fan of uniforms either.
Because we had like fake debates in school at the time about this.
Yeah.
And even in primary school, when I was in year 5, so I was, 10? I was correct. The points I made still stand. It hinders individuality to make us all wear the same uniform. I probably would have been way less quiet if I'd have just got to wear horsey t-shirts or something, and leggings. Whatever I wore when I was 10. That's exactly what I wore when I was 10, actually. Yeah, I do think that's just the first step, because it does, especially in my school, which was as strict as it was, it does make you these little robots, making you all sort of line up and listen to the commands. And like, why are we treating this like it's the military? This is school. We've come here to learn. You are aiding these young humans to grow healthily and develop their brains. Why are you treating them like they're in the military,
What was your uniform?
It was, in both primary and high school, it was navy. Just navy.
Are we talking like a navy blazer, shirt, skirt combo? Like, did you have trousers as well? What were we working with?
So that was.
And did you have like long shirts in winter and short sleeve shirts in summer? Was that a thing for you?
I never wore long sleeve because I thought they were so uncomfortable. So in high school, yeah, it was the blazer, shirt, tie, skirt, tights. But in primary school, we had way more options. So sometimes I wore trousers, sometimes I wore a cute little pleated skirt. But we had these, is it plaid or plaid or gingham?
Plaid.
Maybe it was gingham.
Oh, gingham. We love
Because
gingham.
it was navy, but then the gingham dresses were light blue, and sometimes they'd have a cute little, like, it's not scallop, but it's like, what's it called when it's sort of petally, the collar,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
you know, with little lacy bits. And then the zip on it, the zip on it would be a little heart shape, and this was official school
Oh.
uniform. But I remember wearing a little blue gingham dress in the summer. Remember what I showed you when we did that shoot, Aimée?
Yes, when we did the podcast shoot.
Story, right, okay, so very relevant to following upwards. Me and Aimée, when we did that shoot for this podcast, we went to this playground, and there was these, it was on some swings or something, I don't know, but I hung upside down. I'm hanging from my knees on this thing because I was like, Emma, let me show you what we used to do in primary school. And I hadn't done it since primary school, by the way. So it had been many years. But I still did it. The blood was in my head.
I do love that. That's awesome. We had, by the time I was in sixth form, we had trousers, and I'm very grateful for that. Most people wore trousers because it was just like, it was an all-girls school, but it was more practical. Do you know? I don't think there's a single school shirt that is ever actually comfy. If anyone who's listening is a parent, can you tell us, when you buy your kids uniforms, are you looking out for if it's comfy or not? Because I can tell you, my parents were just like we had there were stock ones that we just had to get, so it's like you couldn't really pick. But you know, like I see the adverts for like Asda and Sainsbury's and Tesco's all making school uniforms. If you have that option for your kids, do you pick a comfy shirt on purpose? I don't know. Is that something I can't? I'd like to think if I was a mum, I would, but then I don't know how much these shirts cost these days. Maybe that's not an option. Of course, we're talking about back to school in September, but of course there are schools where back to school is in January because they go. It's a very different way of living.
Mad.
I can't ever imagine not being on a September to kind of June, July schedule ever for that reason. Ever.
That's too much. New year, new beginnings. Like, that's too much, I think. Like, leave the going to school in September.
Yeah.
You know, you've warmed into things, and then it's January, and then you're feeling fine and fresh. You're not nervous about going back to school because you've done the going back to school.
Yeah. Like instead it's like the whole idea is that the summer is a reward because you've been through the year.
Yeah, man. Who wants December off? You get December off anyway.
Like,
who wants the 14th of November onwards? That day means nothing to me. Give me my August. My warm, sunny August. Thank you. I don't want to see any planners or school books or blazers in August.
I mean, I can imagine in like a world where you don't have summer during when we would have summer, that maybe it feels different. I don't know.
Yeah, the summer is a big part of it. How strict was your school on uniform during the summer? Because our school was ridiculous. The only time they ever
Oh God, very.
The only
Yeah.
time my high school let us remove our blazers, we had to keep them on all the time, was when it was, at the time, it was record-breaking 34 degrees Celsius. I think it was the hottest day ever in my town back then. Although the hottest day ever now was a couple of years ago when it was 40, but global warming. But yeah, they only when it got to that point where they're like, yeah, maybe you can take this thick, dark outer layer off that was over your shirt with the tie up to the
No.
neck
No.
and your tights and skirt, you know. Maybe just now that it's
No.
34 Celsius, you can take your blazer off. 33 though, get it back on.
Somebody's compiled a list of schools that start I'm basically not in September. I'm going to give you the source. It's the eslnexus.com. So if there is any fault with that,
Blame them.
please, that is the source. So I'll read them out for you, Maddie, and you can tell me what you think. So we have the January bunch are Guatemala, South Africa, Australia. We have listeners in Australia. Please tell us if this is true. Kenya and Malaysia and Singapore. So we're sticking to Southern Hemisphere. Then we move into February schools. This is literally blowing my mind. Costa Rica, Honduras, New Zealand, Brazil, and Chile. And then now we're getting into March, Maddie. Again,
Crazy.
My brain can't deal with this. Argentina and South Korea apparently both start in the beginning of March.
Really?
What? Apparently Japan is April. What? India, they've put down, is apparently starts in June. So please tell us if this is incorrect. We do want to hear your stories. Yeah, India apparently starts in June. My brain is now just, it's like a fish flopping on the floor. And then Indonesia is mid-July.
So the January and February ones, those were all hot countries, I think. So that kind of made sense.
Yeah, I think they are all hot countries apart from South Korea and Japan.
Those ones.
I feel like that makes sense. That would be like, you know, like their summer is when we have winter, I guess, or something equivalenty.
You don't want to be at school when you're sweating buckets, man.
Wait, see, I'm looking up. This was what I was looking for. Korean school start date, because I wanted to verify this. It does. It begins during March and ends in the middle of July, and then starts again in August and ends in mid-February. So 2 big semesters, not 3. So we have 3 terms.
We have half terms.
For anybody not familiar with ecosystem, we have 3 terms. But in South Korea, we do have half terms. In South Korea they have 2 massive terms. I don't know if I'm more of a 3-term person, and I swear that's not me being biased, because it's like you want to like keep breaking it up, you know. I'd rather have loads of consistent breaks than like 2 big breaks.
Digestible chunks, yeah.
More, it's like with eating. They're like, don't eat 2 big meals, eat little and often to keep yourself sustained. It's like that with, Japan is 3 semesters. So the first is April to August. Oh, that's hot though. Then September to December, and then January to March, because the Japanese government decided to make April the start of the official fiscal year in 1886. Wild.
Yeah.
I love that they've done it their own way, but wild. April.
That's kind of like us with pineapple as opposed to ananas. The entire world calls it ananas.
I love that.
And we're just like, no, that's a pineapple. Look at the little spikes on it.
When you started with, that's like pineapple, I went, wait, where's she? I initially thought pineapple on pizza, because I was talking about pizza earlier with like a friend, and then you went for the language angle, and I just couldn't contain myself. I love it. That's top tier. That is so top tier.
The linguistics nerd Aimée, appreciate that.
I do. I absolutely love that.
Is it time for ka-ching?
It is. It is.
I haven't managed to watch a Star Wars film since Rogue One. Sorry.
That's okay, but can I throw out a pineapple fact?
Yeah.
That I've just found. The pineapple was originally called ananas in English, but it was renamed pineapple following a long-standing custom of naming newly discovered fruits something apple. English explorer Captain John Smith likely wasn't aware of the existing name when he discovered a new fruit growing on pine trees in 1624.
Of course his name was John Smith.
I mean, pineapples don't grow on pine trees though, so that's still wild. But I love that.
Also, wait, what other fruits have apple in the name?
There is, okay, wait. So we, for anybody listening, obviously the exchange is where we bring stuff that we love. And Maddie's thing is horses. I haven't looked up more horses, I'm not gonna lie. And my thing is nerd.
We've both failed.
We have both failed.
Our homework. We've had like months to do this during the other recordings. And Maddie and Aimée failed.
It's just kind of, it's been lost. But I love linguistics, and Maddie loves her culture and her languages. And you're gonna learn a cool thing about apple today, which is that This is literally tickling me as I'm reading this. I'm really excited to read this out to you. So, with the nomenclatural practice of using apple for foreign fruits, so the trend of using apple for foreign fruits at this period of time, for example, in Latin, a peach was called periscum, meaning Persian apple. A pomegranate was called a pomum granatum, an apple with many seeds. So English speakers nicknamed the tomato and the eggplant love apple because apparently they had aphrodisiac qualities. In addition, there is the cashew apple, the earth apple, which makes sense for anyone who speaks French, pomme de terre.
Yeah.
The custard apple was the papaya. I love that. I want to bring that back. Can we call papayas the custard apple from now on, please? The thorn apple, which is the fruit of a hawthorn, among others. Therefore, the pineapple comes from the pine cone, even though obviously pineapples don't grow on pine trees. That's incredibly strange. But it may be that Captain John Smith that I mentioned just now, recalled the things that grew on pine trees. Oh, because pine cones do look like pineapples.
Did you just clock that?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm very slow today.
Yeah, they do.
That's I love that. And he was obviously unaware of the name ananas for the fruit that was already being used in English at the time.
So we did have it.
Obsessed with this.
We were in the club, but then John Smith ruined it.
John Smith! What did you do?
Out of the club. You got us kicked out.
What did you do, John Smith?
But only pineapple survived.
Pineapple, yes, because we don't. Can we start calling? Can we do a petition to call the papaya a custard apple?
It's kind of cool.
I like that. It's cute. I mean, papaya is fun to say. What would you rather say? Would you rather say that you were eating a custard apple, or would you rather say you were eating a papaya?
I do like papaya as a word.
It's fun, isn't it?
But if someone hears custard apple, they'd be like, ooh.
Yeah.
What is that?
But then would you want to call a tomato or an eggplant a love apple?
No. No, thank you.
I feel like with also like the connotations of what the eggplant emoji means.
Yeah.
I don't know if love apple makes it better or worse. Do you know?
Yeah.
Would you want to call a peach a Persian apple? I feel like that's not really.
Peach is such an iconic word though. Peach, peachy.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to change that. What's your favourite English word, Maddie, since we are talking about languages
Oh,
today?
that's so difficult.
As part of the exchange. For people who, if English isn't your first language, Maddie has her favourite words to share with you.
You say this word a lot, but I do like lush.
Lush is a great word.
I like anything with connotations to water. Flow.
I don't know, mellifluous.
Yeah, liquids. Also like adjectives like serene or calm or
a lot of peace related words.
I do love me some peace.
My favourite English word is ignominious.
I feel like you said that before.
I love it. It's just like the way that it sounds when you say it. And at the time, I first came across it because I was watching, there was a TV show called The Borgias, and Jeremy Irons played Rodrigo Borgia. And he mentioned in it an ignominious defeat. But the way he said it, sometimes you see those actors where they just chew the scenery and they manage to take a word and make it just sound like so full of attitude, and it just sounds so rich when they say it. And the way he spat out ignominious defeat, I think he was telling off one of his sons. And I was just like, oh my good. I don't know what it is. And it just absolutely caught me. And I've loved it ever since because it's so, or I also like Brobdingnagian. That's a great word.
What does that mean? It's one word.
It's like, yeah, Brobdingnagian. Thank you to the Big Bang Theory for introducing me to that one. Where it's like something is huge.
Okay.
And it's just such a ridiculous word because you can just say that something's big or gigantic. But it's one of the, like, if I'm saying like, oh my God, that car is so Brobdingnagian, it's just like, I don't know, there's like another level of ridiculous largeness that it attaches to it.
The word is kind of over the top.
It's been a fun language exchange.
Yeah, it wasn't really the exchange, but we talked and we gave it a label.
We've exchanged.
Ka-ching. Ka-ching to that.
What is your sign-off message for this episode?
I've just received a recipe from my boss's son, kind of, but he's also sort of my boss anyway. Gets 2 to 3 tins of sweet corn, drained, 1 white onion, diced, 2 cloves of garlic, chopped fresh coriander, curry powder, and some chickpea flour. Blend the sweet corn, add the diced onion and garlic, and the coriander, and the powder and the flour, and some salt and pepper, and mix it all together. And then fry it in a frying pan with a good amount of oil. And that's a sweet corn fritter. Thank you.
That's blown my mind. I can't top that.
You know what,
there's nothing I can do to top that.
Because
not that I'm endeavouring to top that, but that
I requested the recipe for sweet corn fritters from my boss's son, that's also kind of my boss, because my favorite thing to eat at the cafe, because the kitchen boys always make us lunch, is sweet corn fritters, man. They're so delicious. So that's the recipe he sent me. Anything to add, Aimée?
Sleep. Just sleep. We've talked about sleep.
Knock yourself out.
Sleep as much as you can. Sleep is good for you.
Bye then.
Go sleep.
Well, you could do, if that's the only way you can
not literally
nod it off. Just put a pillow on the floor.
Well, we hope for anybody listening that you have had a lovely back to school. Tell us about your back to school experiences. If you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you're a kid, if you're a student, whatever, however, even if you're none of these and you're just watching it and you're like, why am I going into my local Asda and seeing all these back to school things? I just want to buy my ready meals. Tell us your experiences. Do you have back to school fails? Do you have back to school successes? Tell us them all. Yeah, man. And thank you, as always, for listening to Falling Upwards. Bye.
Bye-bye.